The real difficulty is always in ourselves. You don't have to search here and there to get the very root of difficulty. The real root lies in ourselves. We create them, we sustain them, we bear them, and sometimes we complain that difficulties are coming from outside. Like that Kasturi Mega. That fragrance is coming, dear Kasturi dear. That fragrance is coming from its inner novel position. It is very much attractive. It looks, searches here and there outside, but not able to see, know that it is well from inside itself. Finally dying. From the age-old story we can listen, we have been quoting, but thing is that yet to convince, yet to tell that dear that real fragrance is in yourself. You try to find it in you, but thing is that it will never hear us. It will die, but it will never believe because it has been habituated. That is what. Here also same thing, same way we can progress. Real difficulty is in ourselves, not in our surrounding. Just say you have heard John Webster quoting him very fine line, very magnificent line. The misery of us is that we are born great. None dares to woo us, we are forced to woo. The misery of us, हमारा real problem क्या है? That we are born great. None dares to woo us. कोई हमको none dares to woo us. Nobody is trying to create a problem for us. But we are forced to woo because of their great birth. So it is difficulty is not found in our surrounding, it is in ourselves. There are three things necessary in order to make man invincible. Three things you must consider: will, disinterestedness, and faith. Three things that you must take into consideration. You must take it for granted. Will, disinterestedness, and faith. We have a will, definitely to emancipate ourselves, but sufficient faith may be lacking. Will is there, but without sufficient faith. We may have faith in the ultimate emancipation, but will use necessary for the mean is wanting. That is the problem. Will versus you can know that faith. If will is there, faith is lacking. If faith is there, will is wanting. So for that actually we are facing a number of problems. And even if there are will and the faith, if we may use them with a violent attachment to the fruit of our work, what happens here? It is between will and faith. If will is there, faith is lacking. If faith is there, will is wanting. If both are taken together, suppose you are taking them, then what happens? Will and faith are taken, we use them as with a violent attachment to the fruit only, fruit of work. क्या मिलेगा? कर्मेणो बाधिकस्तु मा फलेन कदाचन, मा फलेषु कदाचन. Your work is in your hand, but the result you don't know. God will give you the final result. And with passion of hatred, blind excitement, hasty forcefulness, yeah, these are all coming on the way. If you are taking will and faith together, there is a violent attachment to the fruit of your work. Violent attachment to the fruit of your work. Then what happens with passion of hatred? Second, blind excitement. Third, hasty forcefulness. Further, to produce the evil reactions. That is what. For this reason, so what we are doing, it is necessary in a work of such magnitude. If work of such magnitude, to have resort to the higher power than mind and the body, in order to overcome the unprecedented obstacles. In order to have unprecedented obstacles, what you have to do? It is necessary. It is necessary. It is necessary to work in such multitude to have to resort to higher power. If you take resort to any some higher power, than that of mind and the body, you can get some solution. Unless otherwise that of higher force, higher light, higher ananda, that descent is a must without which you will be facing difficulties again and again. This is the need of sadhana. That higher force, that higher force you have to descend. This higher force must be having the force greater than the force of mind and body. So if it is there, the greater force is coming and overpassing or bypassing or overcoming it, then you will get some result. That is what the requirement. Again, we will go forward. Here in the course, this always comes in the way when one wants to progress in one's sadhana. If you are sleeping, he is sleeping, then no problem. Why shall it go and try unnecessarily? It will spend its energy. No, 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 never comes. When you progress in sadhana, when you progress in sadhana, the always these difficulties are coming as a barrier, as a resistance, as obstacles rather. Sometimes you can find. But in the end, if one is sincere in its aspiration, if you have got the sincere aspiration, in the end, you can find these troubles help to prepare the victory of the soul over the all that opposes. It waits. It waits till that point as long as you are overcoming these obstacles. One's aspiration, if one is having the sincere aspiration, then these troubles, where those troubles, they were coming as resistance, obstacles, they are now help to prepare the victory of the soul, not your victory of the mind and life and body. They prepare for the victory of the soul all over that opposes. Against every opposing forces, it stands like an iron law. It prepares the victory of the soul. For that, what is required? That sincerity in aspiration. That sincerity of aspiration is the foremost need for the sadhaka. Then Sri Aurobindo goes forward. It is a period when doubt, denial, dryness, grayness. Just imagine doubt, denial, dryness, grayness, and all kinds of things come up with the great force. Sometimes, not always, you will find. Already Sri Aurobindo has quoted, as long as you are sleeping, they are least concerned. They are least worried. When you progress in the path of sadhana, that time really it happens. They also come forward with the equivalent strength. Sometimes it seems the dark adventurers seem to win. They are rooting like anything. They are resisting like anything. Difficulties are can't emerge so fierceful, so powerful. So when doubt, denial, dryness, grayness, and all kinds of things come up with the great force, and upon rain completely for a time. It seems so. Rain completely for a time, you can imagine that time, for some time. That time actually you will feel depressed, harassed. You will feel like defeated. Don't worry, because the battle is not for you. Your father has said, go and do one thing. I am going for some time to have some, I have got my work. You go and sit in the chair for some time in my stall. Whatever is going to happen, let it happen. Don't worry. You go, simply sit in the place. That is what, for that actually you have been selected. And suppose somebody is coming, you have to take care that nothing is lost. If it is not sold, that is not your headache. You sit, father will come, he will take care. But thing is that you must see that nothing is lost at least. So mother is taking care. You don't have to worry. Not at all. It is not at all your headache. You forget and smile. So what happens? These type of things like doubt, denial, dryness, grayness, and all sort of it will come up with great force and vigority. Often rain completely for a time. You will feel something like I am rained under them. They are raining like anything. It is after this stage has been successfully crossed, when you have overcome them, you have crossed successfully, these stages are crossed successfully, then the true light begins. True light begins. So, what we have to do begins to come. You can find. Once it is overcome, then you will find the bright light coming, approaching you. They will start in rush of the bright light into the place of darkness, into the place rush of truth into the arena, into the place of falsehood. So the light which is not of the mind but of the spirit, that ordinary light you can find. It is not the light of the mind but the light of the spirit. It does not really indicate any radical disability in the nature. It can't really radiate any radical disability. That light is the supreme light, light of the spirit. From the light of the spirit, you can't find the radical disability. It can't find that radiation you can find. But certainly, it is a hard ordeal. Still in the course, it is an ordeal, not only ordeal, not a test, not exam, it is an ordeal. And how the ordeal is? Hard ordeal, and one has to stick very firmly to pass through it. Already in the more, I think in the another session we have discussed that what is the requirement here. Requirement here, you have to remain quiet within. What are the requirement, basic requirement, here? Solid mind, solid nervous system, steady psychic flame. These are the requirements on the way that you have to require and you have to go by. So that way you have to pass through. That hard ordeal you will face. Unless otherwise it is overcome, overpassed. They will be bringing resistances and obstacles before you. So thing is that you must be quiet in your heart, silent. Then to overcome the facility, you don't have to run away. Don't have to escape. Rather, you must have solid mind, solid nervous system, and steady psychic flame to face the obstacle. And in the final phase, we have come to see the path is long. The path is long. We don't know how far we have to go. Where, when, how. Nothing is known to the physical ear, physical senses. No mathematical calculation, mental calculation can provide the true objectivity, true calculation, final goal. Nobody can say. The path is long, but self-surrender makes it short. Surrender at the feet of the Supreme Mother. That supreme surrender, you do it, that self surrender makes it short. Then the way is difficult, really difficult. We have never seen. Very difficult, tough. But perfect trust make it easy. The way is difficult, but what you have to do? Perfect trust in the divine mother. That makes it easy. The force that can do it exists. Don't worry, you have to go and you have to quest for some force, not necessary. It is with you here, it exists, but it is hidden in a secret chamber within us. Hidden in a secret chamber in us that you have to take care. And of that chamber, the God holds the key. Our life is a paradox with God for key. Here is the key with God. God holds the key. So what we have to do? Let us find him and claim it. Let us find the God inside us and claim the key. If once the key is found, your problems are over. धन्यवाद.